Today we're looking at 10 tips to take care of your computer. Hi everybody, welcome to StudioSec. Thank you for watching. Like this video if it's helpful, comment down below if you have any questions that you would like a video on, and subscribe for more content I'm posting every single week. To prove that I mean business, whenever I say that I will make videos on any questions that you might have, this is actually the first time we're doing that. This video is answering a question from DeadWarDog14 on how we can take care of our computer. So today we're going to be talking about 10 different ways that you can take care of your computer to increase its lifespan and keep you from having to buy computers all the time. Now, I do want to say that this is in fact a cybersecurity issue, and the reason I say that is because availability is one of the thirds of the CIA triad. And if your computer is broken down, if it's disgusting and you don't want to use it, and the services available on that computer are not able to be put up, then you've lost a third of the battle. It is not available. So you want to keep your computer available to you by taking care of it. And today we're going to be talking about tip number 1 is install antivirus. Antivirus apps will help you notify you whenever malware has been installed on your machine. They will be able to scan all the different files looking for malware, and they will be able to get rid of it whenever it finds it. Now, obviously, I don't need to tell you why malware is bad, but I will anyway. It causes some serious damage to your computer. And so if you don't want malware to basically turn your computer into a brick, get some antivirus. I mean, seriously, it's half the time it's free. You can upgrade it and get even more services, but the number one thing you need to do here is get antivirus. Now, note for Windows and Mac users, there is already security software installed on your machines. With Windows, it's Windows Firewall, and Windows Defender. With Mac, it is just the pre-installed security configurations and applications. But if you want to add extra bang for your buck, get a secondary, like third-party antivirus software like McAfee, and that will really help you, take care of your computer. For Linux, well, you're on your own. There's nothing I can do. Just kidding. For Linux, you need antivirus too. Just because you're on Linux doesn't mean you're that special. Contrary to popular belief, you will need antivirus as well. So if you're on Linux, get it. Number 2, be careful with food and liquids. Clearly, spills can really harm your hardware. And to make it worse, some hardware insurances don't even cover liquid damage to your machine. So especially whenever you're getting some kind of hardware insurance, read the fine print, make sure that that is something that's covered if that's something that you're under threat of. Now, obviously liquids can damage your computer, but food can degrade your hardware over time. And on top of that, it's just disgusting. Seriously, you spilling ketchup all over your keyboard? What are you doing? And on that point, we're going to talk about hardware insurance. So that's actually going to be point number 3, is get insurance for your devices. Now, this is even more important in my opinion whenever you're getting more expensive devices. If you're getting a gaming computer because you watched a home lab video and you're like, dang, a gaming computer would be perfect for my needs to have a virtual environment to create, a cyber range, then you're going to want to get some insurance for that, because if any of these things happen and your machine breaks, you're going to want to be covered so you can recover that device. Now, obviously for Apple Care is one of those things that's available right out of the box that Apple provides itself. However, you want to make sure that you note that in some of those packages, water damage is not covered. So obviously that not only covers any kinds of spills that we talked about in the last point, but any kind of rain damage, or if you drop it in a lake, because you just have to be around lakes all the time. I mean, I get it, it's getting close to spring break, but don't put your computer in the lake, guys. Just make sure you're being diligent about what is covered and what is not covered. Point number 4 is get a case. Seriously, you cannot go wrong if you get a case for your device. In case you drop it, I said it. If you drop your device, you want to make sure that it's going to be protected from that fall. So get a case and protect your device from any kinds of physical impacts it might suffer over time. It might also be able to protect from spills or anything like that if you have any waterproof cases. So that's really an investment you want to look into, especially if you're having a laptop or any kind of mobile device that you're going to be carrying around from place to place. You want to make sure that you are protecting it from the environment. Now for the point 5, protect your battery. You want to make sure that you are paying close attention to your battery life. You don't want your battery to degrade over time. Now, obviously, we all know of the cases, especially with some Apple devices and older generations, that that Apple would degrade over time. Of course, that's something that would drive people to purchase newer devices, but especially now, it's more possible for you to take care of your device by just following best practices when it comes to your battery life. This includes Windows and Linux devices as well. Anything that has any kind of battery in it. For instance, some devices will have an option, maybe it isn't even an option that you can configure or toggle. It's just the way that the device is going to run permanently, but it will throttle its charging depending on its battery life, and that will help it from damaging the battery over time. Now, if you're not familiar with how batteries work, they basically run in cycles. So each battery can only have a certain number of cycles, and that is going from 0 charge to 100% charge in its lifespan. And in some cases, in older devices where if you left it plugged in over time, then it would continue to rack up cycles, and that would degrade the battery life. However, now it is going to allow the battery to drain a little bit, and then it will charge up, or maybe it would just stop charging, and maybe it would just stop charging, and that would allow the battery life to be extended. It's not racking up cycles while you're asleep. You're at like 99% charge anyway, so it's not a huge significant. Now, another thing is checking to make sure that your battery can be replaced if you need it replaced. If the battery is soldered onto the machine, unfortunately, you're just gonna have to find a device that allows you to trade the battery out. However, if you can switch the battery out, hey, then there you go. You can just buy a new battery. Point number 6 is make regular cleanings of your machine. And I'm gonna put a caveat here. Do not use liquids when you're cleaning your machine. You're gonna wanna use some kind of rubbing alcohol very lightly with a pad, and you're gonna wanna make sure that you're careful, especially on the keyboard or anywhere where you might be interacting with the physical hardware of the device. You're gonna wanna make sure that you're not using any liquids there. Compressed air is another helpful thing that you can use, but really a brush or some kind of cloth to wipe off gunk and just dust and whatever, that's gonna be really helpful for you for cleaning your machine. But you're gonna wanna do this regularly and not just wait, a chunk of time until it's all disgusting and you've got ketchup because you spill your food all over your computer, and now you've got to do this crazy cleaning trying to get ketchup out the keyboards. Well, one, if you're performing regular cleanings, then this massive cleaning wouldn't necessarily be a problem. And two, if you don't spill food on your computer, even better. Point number 7 is perform regular updates of your software. This includes your operating system, but it also includes the other apps that you're running on your machine. Now, these updates include patches that include different changes to the security configuration that keep attackers out, but it might also include some quality of life updates that are just gonna make the computer run a bit better, and over time, those really will make a difference. Now, a note here on updates is, especially as updates become bigger, that might drain the battery life a bit faster, and that's one of the reasons why older batteries struggle to run newer iOS updates. However, again, if you have a device that has a modular battery, you can just swap it out for a new one. Well, there you go. And two, if you're able to just make sure that you're following best practices with your battery, it's not soldered onto your machine, then you might be able to elongate the lifespan of your device. Point number 8 is limiting the number of programs that are running on your device at any given time. Now, obviously we know that your device has only a certain amount of RAM available to it, and that really means that your device can capably run a certain number of programs at once. An example here is, think of all the number of things that you can do concurrently, or at the same time. Can you multitask? Well, sure. Can you be perfect at advanced tasks, 2 different tasks at the same time? Probably not, and that's really just because, we don't have enough RAM. Well, computers are kind of the same way. If the computer doesn't have enough RAM, then it cannot run a certain number of tasks concurrently. So making sure that you're killing off programs that you don't need will really help your computer to run faster. It's gonna reduce stress, it's gonna reduce the battery draw, and that is going to keep it running longer. One of the things you can use to check on this is your task manager. This exists on Windows. There's a similar function on Mac and Linux, but that allows you basically to just look up the functions that are running on your device and you can just kill them off. Now, a point on that, a lot of those programs you'll find on there are things that your computer needs to run. So only kill the tasks that you recognize. For instance, Google Chrome or the Steam app or whatever. Point number 9 is clean out your storage space. And this is something that definitely needs to be performed also regularly along with probably your cleanings, but you wanna make sure that you are getting rid of files that you no longer need. Now, obviously, over time, we accumulate things, right? Well, this is the same with the files that we accumulate digitally. And we want to make sure that we are cleaning the file systems on our machines and making sure that we're not just loading up a hard disk with a ton of stuff we don't. Point number 10 is pay attention to the apps that start up on boot. Now, this is something that you can configure on your machine. And how you can configure it is you go to the preferences on the apps that start up on boot, and there should be an option, disable start on boot. And so you can do just that. Well, if you want to know what apps do start on boot, just restart your computer and see what apps pop up. They'll probably pop up a window of some sort, maybe to check in for an update, maybe to notify you of something. Well, you can disable that. And that way your computer is not potentially getting into a crash cycle. Maybe if you have an older computer, one with not a lot of RAM, and it's got a lot of apps that are starting up at boot, if it's overwhelming the CPU, you could be creating some kind of a crash loop. And so you want to make sure that you're not overloading your machine when it's booting up. Let it just complete the boot up process, and then you can start up your apps. Now, with these 10 tips, you can keep your computer alive for a long time. So if it's helpful, like this video. If you have any other tips, or if you found any of this helpful, comment down below. And also, if you want a video made on any questions you have, hey, shoot a comment down below. See you guys.